Today, I have Andre Johson with me. He's a best-selling author, active real estate investor, owner of several businesses, and mentor to hundreds of investors. He is Amazon's #1 seller and has written multiple books that we're going to be talking about today. Welcome to my show, Andre.
Thank you for having me, Vinky.
So tell me about yourself. At present, how do you see yourself, or where do you see yourself in your journey, personally and at the professional level?
Wow. So let's start with how I got started. We were talking before that I didn't get started straight into real estate like many aspiring investors. We don't take a straight line to success. There's a lot of ups and downs and twists and turns. And so, out of college, I got a job like many do, and wasn't born into wealth or with a silver spoon in my mouth. And, I just realized that corporate ladder climbing wasn't for me. And, the role I was in straight out of school, doing some research and development in a laboratory, I'm a people person, and I just had to kind of, break out of those four white walls. And it led me to, kind of a winding path that led to dabbling in real estate part-time. And that part-time, leap of faith turned into some success. And, I guess the rest is history. Wound up going in full-time. 2003 was my last paycheck from an employer. And so 20 years later, I've been self-employed as an entrepreneur and business owner and a real estate investor, supporting myself and my family. And, I've really experienced all different types of emotions and successes and failures with real estate, as many of us have. At this point in my career, I recently moved from where I was in the DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia area, down to South Florida, with the pandemic allowing us to see the world differently, understanding that we can work from anywhere in the world and still manage our businesses. And so that's where I am right now, in my life. I'm able to run my real estate business and my other businesses from down here in sunny Florida, and really enjoying life.
Great. So why did you move to Florida?
Why did I move to Florida? Wow. I was fortunate to have, my kids very young. And so, having my kids in my early 20s, and now I have two, grown adults, two women that have graduated from college and are now gainfully self-employed. And so I'm more than an empty nester. I'm an empty nester that has, some tax-paying citizens as daughters. And so, they told me, Daddy, I'm not coming back home, to the DMV area. So, I've always, been open to mobility. And I think everyone, listening should always keep your options open. Don't feel like you have to stay, in your hometown or invest in your hometown. Always be open to, being mobile. And I've lived in, 3 or 4 different states, and decided that, I was gonna move to Florida and enjoy the sunny weather. And like I said, with the pandemic really changing the way that we view how we can run our businesses, how we can attract and provide value to customers all over the country, and in some cases all over the world, I just said, hey, why not?
Tell me a little bit about your background. How did you become whatever you are today?
Well, I mentioned earlier that I started out with a job in research and development, and met a friend at the time at the same company. He just happened to be in a different division in manufacturing. I was in research and development, and we shared a lot of common experiences growing up. And so he was house hacking. Now that term hadn't become popular back in the late 90s, at least I hadn't heard of it, but he was house hacking, living in a 2-unit apartment, renting out the second floor, living on the first floor. So we both were living in a townhouse at the time. He owned his 2-unit, I owned my, end of group townhouse, but he was one up on me, and as very close friends do. He never let me stop hearing that he was living rent and mortgage free, having his tenant upstairs paying for his mortgage. And so that was really, Vinky, the motivation for me to learn more about real estate. I did the, the ordering of books. I've read many books, back then that kind of became the foundation of my knowledge and inspiration, whether it was Thinking and Grow Rich from Napoleon Hill, or whether it was Multiple Streams of Income with Robert Allen, or whether it was ordering the Carlton Sheets course that I probably ordered twice because I, moving, I misplaced the first copy. But these are the foundations of me believing in entrepreneurship, in real estate investing, and it was having a personal friend, a close, connection with someone that had already been there, done that, and had, bought a property and was really eager and hungry to buy more. And so, long story short, he was really, really trying to get me to partner with him because his credit wasn't good at the time, and he needed, someone with good credit, to be a credit partner on acquiring additional units. And so, even though I had this close friend who I trusted enough to, watch my little girls at the time, and we did the same, and then watching his twin boys, kind of shared those responsibilities so we can go out on a night on the town. But I did not have the faith and the commitment at that time, to move forward with a partnership, a JV partnership with him. And, I kind of set back, paralysis by analysis, that engineering background, overanalyzing every opportunity he put in front of me. And, I look back 12 months later, after he initially approached me about partnering, he had quit the job at the same company, retired, so to speak, and was off to the races as a full-time investor, doing some fix and flips and buy and holds. And when I came back around to him and said, "Hey, I'm in, I see what you're doing," he laughed and said, "Hey, that's cool and all, but I don't need you at this point." So he wound up being my first mentor, helping me to acquire my first 6 properties in the Wilmington area, in the early 2000s. And I took a lot of those deal structuring strategies that he used to help me acquire the properties. And when I moved back to Maryland in 2002, basically, replicated, some of the same models that he had built and put my own spin on it, and then was off to the races helping investors, in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area to acquire properties, and doing it through joint venture partnerships. And that's really how I got started, and I've never looked back.
Wow. And you wrote multiple books about all your experiences after that.
Well, the one book that's published is Deal Mastery, okay, the real estate investing guide to finding deals, joint venturing, taking massive action, and leaving a legacy. That's the one that's published. It's on Amazon, hit the #1 bestseller position on Amazon. And we have tons of 5-star reviews. And, the book is not really just about me. It's about, how I've helped, investors over the years in my network, to achieve their financial goals through real estate investing, really leveraging cost-effective, systems and scalable tools, that help them to, accomplish their goals. And some of those goals are steeped in, generating as much, income and profit as possible. Some of the goals from certain investors are, just to claim more time for themselves, so they can, not have to view real estate through the prism of having, another job. And then some people's goals are more about, building passive income through the acquisition of assets. So regardless of what, one's goals are in real estate, that's the beauty of it. Everyone can leverage real estate, to the benefit that suits them and their view of real estate. And that really opens up the possibilities to everyone, to achieve some form and fashion of financial freedom through real estate.
Oh, that's true. And then did you start your mentorship program? Because you thought you acquired enough knowledge by fix and flips or rehabs that you don't want other people or other investors to miss the opportunity like you thought maybe you have missed when you had the opportunity early on with your friend. But I don't think it was a missed opportunity. It was just like maybe lesson or getting at the comfortable space to get started with.
Absolutely. So I would have never gotten into real estate if it hadn't been for my friend turned mentor, Sean, who really planted those seeds and told me which books to buy, encouraged me to get, through, the material and really planted those seeds of, again, entrepreneurship and being a real estate investor and business owner into me. And so, yes, it's that. And I've looked back at this over the years, that really, drove me to want to help others. And there's just so many ways to make money, in this world. So starting, a mentorship program, a coaching program, definitely wasn't just for the money, because there's so many ways to make money. And when you mentor someone, you coach someone, you're really taking, and you should be, for mentors and coaches, taking a personal interest in their success. And so that requires a lot of time. It requires a lot of energy. It requires a lot of patience. And so when I got started, I would have many friends, family, associates that saw me at a very young age, acquiring properties, and partnering with investors that, of course, I hadn't known as just through other aspects of life other than just real estate business. And so people say, well, how are you doing this? And so after being asked so many times, can I take you to lunch? Can we grab coffee? I decided to, put on an event in the fall of 2002 called, the Financial Freedom Seminar. And so that was the beginning of what turned into ongoing, consistent real estate trainings and educational events. And that evolved into having, a RIA, Real Estate Investors Association, that evolved into having, monthly and periodic meetups, and, that I've continued up, through this day, and helping to, again, educate, train investors, and to provide a platform for new and experienced investors, to plug into a community where there's not only education, because you can find real estate education anywhere today. I mean, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Facebook groups, there's so many different places you can find real estate education. But what I've heard from thousands of investors over the years is that so many people spend money on getting educated, but never take action. So what my real estate groups and communities have always been about is helping to provide investors not only with the education, but also the actionable tools to help them to, find deals and execute those deals to whatever preferred exit strategies they are aspiring to.
And I also read in your bio that you have developed cloud-based marketing software. What is that? That's like more like branding, right? Giving tools to the aspiring investors, giving or equipping them with some kind of tools that, okay, this is it. That's how you're going to brand yourself. Something like that?
Yes. So no matter, when it has been, what market cycle, whether it was the beginning of the 2000s, when there was the dot-com bubble and there's a lot of foreclosures early in the 2000s, whether it was the rise, to, the peaks in 2006 and 7 before, the mortgage crash of 08, or, the last, kind of craze we've had with the pandemic and just having no inventory and having values go through the roof. No matter what market cycle it has been, okay, there are two things that investors always need and have challenges putting, their hands on. Okay, one is finding good deals. Okay, and two, if someone is lucky enough to find a good deal, the next problem they have is procuring the financing, the funding to actually close on that deal. So one is finding good deals, and two is finding the capital or funding to actually close the deal. So, again, going back to the evolution of, my platform and my network, I've always been focused on trying to help investors to solve those two problems. And, what I've learned over the years is there's a lot of people out there with money, but not as many people out there with money, knowledge to execute, or access to deals, right? So for me, I've always encouraged and also tried to provide the resources to new and experienced investors to be able to find good deals. Because if you find a good deal, it's funny, Binky, if you find a good deal, the money will show up if you get that deal in front of the right people. And I know from what you do, I'm sure you're a believer in that. So finding good deals is kind of the hallmark of being a successful real estate investor long-term. Because once you get that property under contract and you control it, you now have the ability to put that opportunity in front of different types of investors, that have, cash and liquid capital to be a part of that deal. Maybe it's an equity partner, investors, passive investors that may lend money to you as a debt partner, maybe some individuals that it could be a credit partner, to sign for a loan. So many different ways, or someone just wants to outright buy your property, wholesale a property. So many different ways once you find good deals to make the deal happen. And that's kind of, ground zero for, being a successful real estate investor is getting the systems, putting the process together, and then having the team to help you to consistently find and evaluate deals. And that's what we've helped people to do with our cloud-based marketing system. We call it a deal finder's funnel. And so our deal finder's funnel is the system that we've created and that we use, and that has the ability to be replicated to provide investors with their own account, with their own funnel, leveraging the same systems, targeting the same motivated sellers that we have access to in our national databases, so that you too, as an investor, can, even with no experience, can say, hey, I want to look for motivated sellers in mid-America. So let's pick location. So maybe Akron, Ohio. You're looking for motivated sellers, and so with our platform, with our big data access, we can show you how to find vacant property owners, absentee property owners, how to, put multiple variables together, like a vacant property owner that's also in pre-foreclosure, called list stacking, and help to show you how to target those motivations of property owners that may own single families, condos, or multifamilies, or commercial buildings. And then with that targeted list of potentially motivated sellers, allow you to plug and play into our systems to be able to do direct to seller marketing, to prospect and see which ones of those sellers on that list is open and interested to possibly selling their property to you and your company. And that's what we've done and building out our systems over the last few years. And that's how we help investors principally, to find deals and educating them on how to deal structure and close those deals. And that's the platform that we offer. And that's the system that helps, investors to get started in this business.
Any kind of deals, right? You said multifamily or residential or whatever, any kind of deals you can filter through your software.
Exactly. Any kind of deal. So primarily most investors just getting started, as you know, are getting started in the residential space. So, with that, you're looking at everything, condos, single family, townhouse, you're looking at all those multis up to 4 units. And then once you go beyond 4 units, now you're looking at, multi-family, commercial. And so, yes, we have access to, all of those different types of properties. And the investors that we work with, they come in, they identify the areas, the target areas they want to invest in. They tell us the types of properties they want to either buy, fix and flip, fix and hold, or wholesale. And then we help them to build out a plan and a targeted list. And they can plug right into the systems that we have, and then take advantage of the skilled workers, virtual assistants we have in place to help them to run their campaign. So that's, again, been the focus for me. Again, not only helping investors, through knowledge and training, but more so providing them with the actionable tools and systems to actually get started and to actually, make things happen in this business. There's too much, just information out there, and not enough, action, being taken, resulting in, becoming, a real estate investor that actually does deals. And so that's been our mission and our purpose over the last, decade or so.
So how different is it, your software, from the skip tracing? Or is it kind of similar to that?
Well, skip tracing is just one part, of building out a direct to seller marketing campaign. So it sounds like you have some insight, information and knowledge on, how to do direct to seller marketing. So for those of you that, would like to understand direct to seller marketing, let me take a minute, excuse me, to break it down. So when you do direct to seller marketing as an investor, you first start by identifying a target area where you want to acquire properties, or you want to wholesale properties, or you want to fix and flip properties. So you start with identifying your target area. Once you identify your target area, now you want to identify, what sellers in that targeted area and what types of properties that you want to target. Okay, so how you identify, the types of properties, that's all going to depend on your investing strategy, right? So if you want to target commercial properties, you want to target multifamily, you want to target condos, maybe to do Airbnbs, You want to target single families. That's going to depend on your investment strategy. So once you specify your geography, your footprint, the types of properties, now you want to build out a list that really hopefully is going to target motivated sellers. So how do you do that? Well, you kind of play on the tried and true motivations, whether it's surrounding the property or surrounding the owner of the property. And we have access to big data and the experience to know what types of sellers, what types of motivations leads to someone that's motivated. Okay, give you a couple of examples. A vacant property, one that's not bringing in any income because it's vacant. Okay, over time, that's going to lead to a highly motivated seller, because I don't care how deep your pockets are. Eventually, an owner of a property that's not bringing in income is going to get tired of servicing the debt, the mortgage, and then paying expenses. That is, your taxes, your insurance, your utilities. So I don't care how deep your pockets are. If a property stays vacant for a prolonged period of time, 6 months, 12 months, a year plus, that owner eventually is going to become motivated to sell. Now the question becomes, as an investor, are they going to sell to you or someone else? And so that's where the direct-to-seller marketing comes in. You have to be, prospecting to those types of owners. You have to be top of mind, where they have built rapport with you, and when they're ready to sell, they're going to reach out to you for you to make them an offer. So vacant property owners that are in pre-foreclosure, property owners that have gone through divorce, property owners that have inherited properties that really don't want to be real estate investors, but they've inherited this asset and they don't know what to do with it. These are all examples of motivations that help you to cultivate and curate your list. And once you build out your list, you have this list of prospective motivated sellers. You might have property addresses, mailing addresses. And now, as you mentioned, Vinky, you need to be able to build out a list with contact information, be able to somehow find their phone number, mobile number, find maybe social media contact information. That process is called skip tracing, where you go through the process of, tapping into some investigative databases to get as much contact information for your list as possible. So we not only help you to, build out your targeted list for your targeted area, we also help you to skip trace that list so you have the most accurate contact information as possible. And then once you have that list, it's like, now what? Now you have to, go through the process of actually contacting them, prospecting to that list. And so when I got started, like a lot of you that may be listening, you might have tried to do this all on your own. So you get a list, some people go down to the courthouse and get a list of landlords that are going through evictions, maybe tired landlords going through evictions. So no matter where your list comes from, and I've given you many different examples, and there are many more that we help our clients with, you wind up with a list after you skip trace it of maybe 5,000 names with 5,000 phone numbers, maybe more. And it's like, okay, am I going to now sit down at my desk when I get off of work, when I come home from my other business, and am I going to start boop, 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 boop? Am I going to start dialing one at a time? That's crazy. That now is turning real estate into a second job. And so I would never suggest someone that is aspiring to be a real estate investor, regardless if your goals, are to buy 10 units or 1,000 units, I would never suggest someone, to take on that type of task, because now you're looking at real estate and you're going to look at it through the prism of, being a burden. You want to now build out a business. You want to build out a business where you've now hired people, you've now put standard operating procedures in place to build a real company where the business can function without you putting in time and exchanging time for money. So to carry this forward, you build out this list, you have this list of prospective motivated sellers. Now you need to have tools, systems that you can put this list into, upload the list to a marketing software like we have virtual assistants to then be able to take that list in that marketing platform to be able to, place calls, drop voicemails, respond back and forth with text messages. And that's how you wind up getting, 20, 25% of that list of 5,000 names saying, hey, I got your message. Yes, I do own that property, 123 Main Street, over in Akron. How'd you know I was thinking about selling it? And then you get into, this this back and forth, building rapport. And that's how you get the best deals, doing direct to seller marketing, cutting out the middleman, the auctioneer, the realtor, the broker, the wholesaler. By going direct to the seller, you have an opportunity to build one-on-one rapport, to be that kind of, that white knight, on a horse that comes in and saves the day, that, gives the seller the opportunity to really have a customized solution for whatever their problems are. Just think about it. When someone has a distressed property and it needs work, a lot of times if they go to a real estate agent, they're going to say, well, this is not going to show well, or, the retail market, the MLS, is really a market best for homes that are not in disrepair. Okay. So don't get me wrong. Distressed properties are listed on the MLS and they do sell. But if you can come in and you can have a rapport built with the seller directly, you'd be surprised not only what types of flexibility the seller has that you will never get by going through the MLS, because you're going through gatekeepers. You're a buying agent, the selling agent, you're going through multiple gatekeepers. So it's almost impossible to work out the most creative types of deals. You've probably heard of subject to deals, taking over someone's existing mortgages, doing some type of, master lease or lease option. These are things that a lot of sellers are open to if you have direct contact with them doing direct to seller marketing. If you only rely on going to auctions, buying, foreclosures, online, or going through the MLS, you're very rarely going to be able to negotiate these creatively deal structured opportunities, because you're not dealing directly with the seller. So thank you. That's how we help investors, primarily, not only through the training and the education, but also, through our marketing agency and with our deal finders funnel, giving investors, new and experienced, the tools, the systems, the virtual assistants, the proven call scripts and strategies to acquire properties, in their targeted area.
So what is your the software called?
It's called Deal Finders Funnel. And if someone
Deal
goes
Finders
to,
Funnel.
someone goes to dealfindersfunnel.com, they'll find, more information about the software. We highly encourage, new and experienced investors that have never done direct to seller marketing, to, just to dive right in. I mean, because that's the best way, to get started as an investor, or to try to take your business to the next level, is for you to be having conversations with potentially motivated sellers. Okay. So
That's good. So
what happens is, if you have, some virtual assistants doing the grunt work, dealing with the no, not interested, and you get someone to qualify those leads for you, you'll spend your time, which is the highest and best use of your time, just speaking to people that are motivated, that want to talk to you, where you can then work out the, price and terms that work for you and the seller. And that's where the money is made. The money made is in real estate. I learned this very early on. The money in real estate is made when you buy, not when you sell. So if you buy at the right price and terms, then you set yourself up, to, realize the appreciation and the profits and the cash flow over the period of time of ownership, and your profits when you sell.
So is this your primary gig now, the software, maintaining the software and getting more clients?
Yes, it is. And it's through helping clients to find real estate deals, mentoring and training them on, deal structuring. That enables me to, really fulfill, what I believe has been my mission over the last 20 years. And that's helping investors get started or take their businesses to the next level. And of course, I still, look for deals for myself, and, here and there, whether I'm wholesaling or if I'm partnering on a fix and flip, those are opportunities that, of course, I'm always, looking for and open to. But yes, primarily, it's helping investors through our systems, our training, our mentoring, helping them to get started and to grow into their businesses.
That's why I say all the time, do you remember there was a gold rush in California a long time ago? And everybody rushed to California for the gold mining or the panning. And the people who put their shacks out there selling the shovels and the buckets, they made a lot more money than the gold panning. So I think that's what the deal is, because giving the proper equipment or the tool to the people to get to their vision, whatever their vision is, in the real estate. That's what you're providing them with. And the other thing I read in your bio is, I thought that was funny. That's what I wanted to share with you.
No, I agree. I agree with that.
I 100% believe in that, that people who are giving you the tools, the shovels and the buckets to do the job, they are much more successful as well. I read in your bio the other thing, you say you love to collaborate and compete. So I wanted to understand from you, in your words, what is the definition for you, the competition and the collaboration?
You said in one word?
No?
Oh, okay. So collaboration and competition. So whether it's personally, everything that I like and love personally, keep score, right? So whether it's playing poker, you keep score with chips. Whether it's playing cards, you keep score with a game score. Whether it's sports, you keep score with a scoreboard. So pretty much, whether it's business, you keep score with profits and loss and market share. So how many clients and how many success stories. So these are things that, I realize, at an early age that I love, I love competition. I love, keeping track, keeping score. So that's really what that's all about.
The competition is for you keeping the score, because you've been in the sports too, right? I did read in your bio, the sports and the games, that you might have done that, right? That's why
Yes.
you like to keep score of all that. So how about collaboration? What is your definition of collaboration?
So collaboration, I mean, I've pretty much done any and every type of joint venture or collaboration you can think of, whether it's, doing a traditional joint venture where you go 50-50 with an equity partner, whether it's, investment projects where, you bring in, someone that has maybe no experience, no money, but they have credit and they will be a credit partner on a deal and have an equity stake in that project and where I have an equity stake for the balance. So ultimately, without going through every specific, scenario, ultimately the beauty of real estate is, that you don't have to have all the money, all the time, all the experience or good credit, in order for you to be successful. Now if you have all four of those things, good credit, a lot of money, a lot of time and a lot of experience, it makes it easier, of course, to be more self-sufficient and do things on your own, although you will never, be successful in real estate, as a man or woman on an island. You'll always need partners, strategic partners and good people around you. But ultimately, even if you don't have many of those things, you might just have, a lot of time and you use that time and leverage that time, to start to go on this journey. But the collaboration really boils down to, Vicky, finding what you have as an asset. So whether it's time, money, credit, or experience, and then leveraging that, and then finding, partners that can fill the voids that you have and that can, kind of, fill in your weaknesses. And that's what the collaboration, has been about for me. And then helping other investors to do the same is really opening up the mind for investors and entrepreneurs to know, hey, I can collaborate and partner with other people that, kind of fill my weaknesses. And that's how I've done a lot of deals over the years is, partnering with someone that was kind of weak in an area, naturally as a mentor. A lot of times I'll bring the experience, a lot of times I'll bring, the systems and even with my relationships, bring the capital, and have others, fulfill out maybe, watching the project in the field, and leveraging their time to manage projects as a development partner, things of that nature. So yeah, collaboration really is only limited by your imagination as long as you're open to, leveraging your strengths and then pairing them with other people's strengths as well.
Very well said. So let me ask you a question about your book, The Deal Mastery. So is that something related to your software, like a complement to your software?
No, the book is a standalone book. It's an easy read. It's about 120 pages. It takes you through my journey with other investors, how I got started, but then quickly pivoting into, how I've helped other investors to achieve their goals, through finding deals, joint venturing, taking massive action, and leaving a legacy. And so that's really the focus of the book. And like I said, it's an easy read. We've had very good feedback from it. And the marketing system, the Deal Finders funnel, is a totally separate platform and standalone in its own right. Comes with its own training and support. And yeah, so those things, just two resources that we have within our organization.
So what is your why? Why are you doing all this? Building this huge empire for yourself?
So, when I first got started, the why was, to not be tied to a job and to be available, for my kids that were young at the time. So like I said, I had two young girls. I first got started in real estate. I think when I first got started, early 2000s, I had a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. So they were about to age out of, pre-K, kindergarten, and go to school. And I wanted to be that dad that, dropped their kids off at school, picked them up, when they got off of school, the dad that did the chaperoning, at, school field trips. And I did all that. I had the freedom that real estate afforded me, with the lifestyle that I wanted to, be a full-time investor. And I grew into that. And that was my why. That's what kept me, working, those 12-hour days, 14-hour days, just getting started. But working from home and being flexible enough to be able to be available and be there for my kids. So that was the why back then. But the why changes, and the why will change for you, all of you listening. And so as my kids got older and started to become more independent, and the why turned into just my love of helping other investors to get started and to see the growth that I realized myself when I got started. Remembering back to when I was afraid and had that paralysis by analysis, and I didn't get started and missed out on opportunities from the story I shared earlier about my friend turned mentor Sean, who helped me get started. So that's where the passion really, what the passion really grew into, and that became the why. Is just the love of helping others to get started in this business. And you'd be surprised, when you invest in other people, the relationships that you form. And a lot of my good deals have come about from people that I've helped get started, people that I've mentored, bringing me opportunities, bringing me deals, asked me if I wanted to get in a deal, certain things of that nature. So yeah, that's been the why as it's evolved. It started with being available for my kids, and then it turned into a passion of just helping other investors to get started or to take their business to the next level.
Oh, very well said. Life is all about connecting with each other and helping each other grow. So that's I think bigger purpose for everybody. So what next for you? Where do you see yourself in next 2 to 5 years?
Yeah, so I've been very fortunate. I mean, real estate's treated me well, and like I said, I moved down to South Florida, and I have a couple other businesses that I'm involved with, and so in addition to growing, the marketing agency and helping investors through our Deal Finders funnel to find deals all over the country, and continuing to mentor investors to get started and to take their business to the next level. And in addition to that, just continuing to build streams of income, as I, work and oversee my businesses at my pace, and that's, and when I say at my pace, the pace down here is a lot, less hectic than it was back outside of DC. So, yeah, so that's how I see things right now. I'm about to turn 50 in a couple of years. And so I'm looking forward to just, continuing on over the next decade or so, enjoying life, at my pace, and just overseeing, the businesses I have running, and that's enough for me.
Share one golden nugget with my audience, please.
Share one what?
Golden nugget.
One golden nugget. One golden nugget is to not let, family or the ones closest to you kill your dreams, because that often is the case when you're getting started with anything that is associated with entrepreneurship or with real estate investing. A lot of people will, unintentionally kill your dreams and tell you, that's too risky, you'll lose your shirt, because they regret not taking the risk themselves when they were, at a younger age.
Yeah, they don't see your vision. And I have that too as well, that experience. Now, this brings us to our rapid fire round. I'm going to ask you 5 questions. You're going to answer it in 1 word and 1 sentence only.
Okay,
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So who was the most influential person in your life?
I would say, wow, that's a tough one. That's a tough one.
This is the first one.
I'm gonna say Sean because he was the gateway from me from a W-2 employee to becoming an entrepreneur.
Great. So what is the best book you have read or recommend?
The best book I have read, I would say Think and Grow Rich is probably the foundational book for me getting started in real estate and as an entrepreneur.
I think for most of us. What is your biggest passion?
My biggest passion is probably being active. So, whether it's just being active.
In 1 word, what does life mean to you?
Ooh, these are deep questions, Mickey. In 1 word, I guess life means, I don't know, life means everything. That's what life means to me. I mean, it means everything. So I've taken a lot of things for granted as a younger entrepreneur and business owner, and as a personally as a father, and but life means everything now. I mean, it's I really appreciate every interaction with clients, with family, friends. Life means everything.
Good. So what is your favorite food?
Favorite food, key lime pie.
Oh, that was easy. So how can
Yes.
people reach out to you?
People can reach out to me by going to dealmastery.com. You can see more about what we do in our organization. You can also reach me on Instagram at Deal with Andre. That's Deal with Andre. And on IG, we have a link to in our bio with all of the resources that we provide, including a lot of freebies and goodies that you'll find again at Deal with Andre on Instagram.
Thanks, Andre.
All right, thank you, Mickey. Appreciate you having me.